Max was a small, scruffy dog with a patchy brown coat and eyes that sparkled with curiosity. He had been a stray for as long as he could remember, wandering the streets of Metroville in search of food and shelter. The city was a sprawling maze of towering skyscrapers, bustling markets, and dark alleyways. For Max, every day was a battle for survival. He dodged speeding cars, avoided hostile strays, and scavenged for scraps in trash bins. Despite his tough life, Max had a heart full of courage and a knack for getting into trouble. He was known among the street animals as the Little Adventurer because he was always exploring new places and getting himself into sticky situations. One day, while chasing a rat through the back streets, Max stumbled upon an old, abandoned laboratory. The building was covered in ivy, and its windows were cracked and dusty. It looked like it hadn't been touched in years. Curiosity got the better of Max, and he squeezed through a broken window to investigate. Inside, the lab was a mess of overturned tables, broken beakers, and strange machines. Max sniffed around, his nose twitching at the scent of chemicals and something unusual. In the corner of the room, he found a glowing vial of liquid. It was a bright, shimmering blue, and it seemed to pulse with energy. Max hesitated for a moment. He had no idea what the liquid was, but something about it called to him. Before he could think twice, he knocked the vial over with his paw and lapped up the spilled potion. It tasted sweet and tangy, like nothing he had ever experienced before. Almost immediately, Max felt a strange sensation coursing through his body. His fur began to tingle, and his muscles felt stronger. He looked down at his paws and saw that they were glowing faintly. Confused but excited, Max decided to test his new abilities. He jumped into the air, and to his astonishment, he didn't come back down. He was flying. Max soared through the air, his heart racing with exhilaration. He flew above the city, the wind rushing through his fur as he took in the breathtaking view. The streets below looked like tiny ribbons, and the people were like ants. For the first time in his life, Max felt free. As he explored his newfound powers, Max discovered that he could do more than just fly. He could run at incredible speeds, leap over tall buildings, and even lift heavy objects with ease. His senses were heightened, too. He could hear a whisper from miles away, smell the faintest traces of food, and see in the dark as if it were daylight. Max knew that his life had changed forever. He was no longer just a stray dog. He was something more. He decided to use his powers to help others, to be a hero for the city that had once ignored him. And so, Superdog was born. Max's first test as Superdog came sooner than he expected. One evening, as he was flying over the city, he noticed a commotion near the Metroville Bridge. A fire had broken out in a nearby apartment building, and the flames were spreading rapidly. People were screaming, and firefighters were struggling to contain the blaze. Without hesitation, Max flew to the scene. Using his super strength, he lifted debris and cleared a path for the firefighters. He used his heightened senses to locate people trapped inside the building, carrying them to safety one by one. The crowd watched in awe as the little dog with glowing fur worked tirelessly to save lives. One of the firefighters, a kind woman named Clara, approached Max after the fire was extinguished. "You're amazing," she said, scratching him behind the ears. "You saved so many people today. Thank you." Max wagged his tail, feeling a sense of pride he had never known before. He had made a difference, and it felt incredible. While Max was busy saving lives, a sinister figure watched from the shadows. Dr. Malvora, the scientist who had created the magic potion, had been searching for his lost invention for months. When he saw the news reports about a superpowered dog, he knew exactly what had happened. Dr. Malvora was a brilliant but twisted man. He had created the potion to give himself superpowers, but his experiments had gone awry. Now he was determined to reclaim the potion's power, no matter the cost. Using his knowledge of robotics and dark science, Dr. Malvora created an army of mechanical beasts to hunt down Superdog. These machines were designed to capture Max and bring him back to the lab, where Dr. Malvora could extract the potion's energy. The mechanical beasts attacked the city without warning. They were massive, hulking machines with glowing red eyes and razor-sharp claws. The people of Metroville were terrified, but Superdog was ready to fight. Max flew into action, using his speed and agility to dodge the machine's attacks. He smashed through their metal bodies with his super strength, but for every machine he destroyed, 2 more seemed to take its place. It was a grueling battle, and Max was starting to tire just when it seemed like all hope was lost. Max had an idea. He flew to the city's power plant and used his powers to overload the machine's circuits. The mechanical beasts shorted out and collapsed, leaving the city safe once more. Dr. Malvora was furious. His plan had failed and Superdog was still out there. Determined to end things once and for all, he unleashed his ultimate creation, a giant robotic dog designed to destroy Superdog. The robotic dog was a monstrous machine, twice the size of a building and armed with deadly weapons. Max knew he was outmatched, but he refused to give up. He flew straight at the machine, dodging lasers and missiles as he searched for a weakness. In a desperate move, Max used his super strength to rip open the machine's chest and disable its core. The robotic dog exploded in a shower of sparks, and Dr. Malvora was forced to flee. Dr. Malvora was furious. His plan had failed and Superdog was still out there. Determined to end things once and for all, he unleashed his ultimate creation, a giant robotic dog, designed to destroy Superdog. The robotic dog was a monstrous machine, twice the size of a building and armed with deadly weapons. Max knew he was outmatched, but he refused to give up. He flew straight at the machine, dodging lasers and missiles as he searched for a weakness. In a desperate move, Max used his super strength to rip open the machine's chest and disable its core. The robotic dog exploded in a shower of sparks, and Dr. Malvora was forced to flee. With Dr. Malvora gone, Metroville was safe once more. The people hailed Superdog as a hero, and Max was welcomed into the homes and hearts of the city's residents. He had a new purpose, a new family, and a new name. Superdog Max continued to protect the city, always ready for the next adventure. He knew that being a hero wasn't just about having superpowers. It was about courage, kindness, and the willingness to help others. And as long as he had those qualities, Max knew he could face any challenge that came his way. After the defeat of Dr. Malvora, Max's life as Superdog became busier than ever. The people of Metroville adored him, and his heroic deeds were celebrated across the city. Children drew pictures of him, newspapers ran headlines about his bravery, and even the mayor declared a Superdog Day in his honor. But Max remained humble. He never forgot his days as a stray, and he made it a point to help other animals in need. He would often visit the local animal shelter, where he played with the dogs and cats waiting for adoption. His presence brought joy to the animals and inspired many people to adopt pets. One day, while visiting the shelter, Max met a shy little puppy named Bella. She had been abandoned on the streets, just like Max once was. Bella was scared of humans and rarely interacted with anyone, but she took an instant liking to Max. The two became fast friends, and Max made it his mission to help Bella find a loving home. Just as life seemed to be settling down, a new threat emerged in Metroville. A group of criminals known as the Shadow Syndicate had been terrorizing the city. They were highly organized and used advanced technology to carry out their crime. The police were struggling to keep up, and the people were growing anxious. Max knew he had to step in. He began patrolling the city at night, using his super senses to track down the criminals. One evening, he overheard a conversation between two members of the Shadow Syndicate. They were planning a massive heist at the Metroville Museum, where a priceless diamond was on display. Max quickly flew to the museum and alerted the security team. Together, they set a trap for the criminals. When the Shadow Syndicate arrived, they were met with a surprise. Superdog was waiting for them. Max used his powers to disarm the criminals and protect the diamond. The heist was foiled and the Shadow Syndicate was forced to retreat. Despite the setback, the Shadow Syndicate wasn't ready to give up. Max realized that he needed to learn more about the group if he was going to stop them for good. He began investigating their operations, using his heightened senses to gather information. One night, while following a lead, Max discovered a hidden underground base where the Shadow Syndicate was storing their stolen goods. The base was heavily guarded, but Max managed to sneak inside using his invisibility power, a new ability he had recently discovered. Inside the base, Max found a map that revealed the Syndicate's next target, the Metroville power plant. If they succeeded in sabotaging the plant, the entire city would be plunged into darkness. Max knew he had to act quickly. Max raced to the power plant, arriving just as the Shadow Syndicate was about to carry out their plan. A fierce battle ensued, with Max using all of his powers to take down the criminals. He dodged bullets, disarmed bombs, and even used his super strength to lift a fallen crane that was blocking the entrance. Despite the odds, Max managed to save the power plant and capture several members of the Shadow Syndicate. The police arrived shortly after and took the criminals into custody. Max had once again saved the city, but he knew the fight wasn't over. During the interrogation of the captured criminals, Max learned that the Shadow Syndicate was led by a mysterious figure known only as the Phantom. No one had ever seen the Phantom's face, and his true identity remained a mystery. Max was determined to uncover the truth. He spent days following leads and gathering clues, eventually discovering that the Phantom was none other than Victor Kane, a wealthy businessman who had been funding the Syndicate's operations. Kane had been using the Syndicate to eliminate his competitors and gain control of the city's resources. Max confronted Kane at his penthouse, where a final showdown took place. Kane had equipped himself with advanced technology, including a suit that gave him superhuman strength. The two clashed in an epic battle, with Max using his wits and powers to outmaneuver his opponent. In the end, Max managed to disable Kane's suit and hand him over to the authorities. The Shadow Syndicate was dismantled, and Metroville was safe once more. With the defeat of the Shadow Syndicate, Max's reputation as a hero reached new heights. The people of Metroville held a grand celebration in his honor, and Max was awarded the key to the city. But for Max, the greatest reward was knowing that he had made a difference. Max continued to protect Metroville, always ready to face whatever challenges came his way. He also worked to inspire others, showing that anyone, no matter how small or ordinary, could be a hero. As the years passed, Max began to think about the future. He knew he couldn't be Superdog forever, and he wanted to ensure that Metroville would always have a protector. He decided to train a new generation of heroes, starting with Bella, the little puppy he had befriended at the shelter.